We're A-Game, a 100% Black-owned company with an all-natural product and world-class customer service. We're headquartered in California, and we manufacture, package, and ship right here in the United States. We ship to more than 125 distributors worldwide. Normal processing is 2 to 3 days, and we employ virtual tracking until our product is received. So, no matter where you are in the world, here we come, and we're bringing your A-game.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, all my Crimsonites. How are we? How are we? All of my beautiful brothers and sisters, how's everybody doing today? This is part 2, an extension of yesterday. Yesterday we did, y'all can see I changed the name. It was How Did Black Women Lose Their Dignity, but this is more to the point, how Black women are used to destroy Black people. Thank you, Man Friday. So I need everybody to hurry on up, get on in, because we have actually a lot to discuss, because we dealt yesterday with biology. Just to give a little bit of a synopsis, but I would like anybody who missed it, go back and check that stream. Before we get into it, I used to have chit chat, but now that I brought everything down to an hour, I don't have chit chat anymore. I have one little piece of chit chat. If you are a fan of horror films like I am, please spare yourself 1 second. Excuse me. Please spare yourself from watching that new movie Malignant that came out in the movies in HBO Max. Don't. Just don't. Trust me, just don't. You don't want to. It's bad. The trailer was so good. I was like, oh, I gotta watch it. So I got HBO Max. And when I watched it, I was like, because first it was interesting. Okay. And I was like, really? This how y'all gonna turn this story around? And then it turned into like a bootleg action flick. I was done. I was like, okay. Thank you, Sway Way. Shalom to my brothers, sisters, and cousins. Thank you, Kayla. So I definitely want to welcome all my sisters. Go ahead and get the bam, 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 bam. You got to get the lights up, bam, bam. I just want to take this time out to welcome my sisters here. It's important for me to welcome my sisters. The women who normally come, of course, you guys are always welcome. And to the newcoming sisters, I really do welcome my sisters here. My sisters. I am not trying to save hyenas and gynocrats. I warn people about them. But my sisters, who may be a little bit wayward, who may just need a little bit of guidance, just a little bit of, learning some things they may not have known. Definitely, those are my sisters. I don't have judgment for them. I just have something that'll hopefully help them. That's it. Thank you, Miss Kinshasa. Said thank you for teaching me so much these past few months. My pleasure, and I'm humbled by that, because shout out really to Dr. Holman for the 10 life value system, for all of these wonderful concepts that really have helped me as well personally. So I thought that was an important thing to say to my sisters. Gynocrats got no shot. They come to destroy what we're doing. But the women who listen, the women who chat, even if you never chat and you're just in the clouds, I'm definitely welcoming you and hoping that you hear something that'll help you. So just to give a real quick synopsis yesterday, because today is a continuation, I talked about Black women and their biology, how all of these things were subverted. Thank you, Miss Zahira. Assalamu alaikum, sweetie. Jazakallah khair. And how their biology was subverted. Subverted. How it got that way. Because we all can see that there's a subversion, but not all of us understand how that subversion actually happens. Some of us have a vague idea. Some of us have a little bit more concrete idea to it. Most of us understand that it has something to do with palm-colored inferiority, but we don't exactly know how. So this is what I'm attempting to break down. So we talked about biology being subverted, the concept that was brought into black women's heads. They didn't need men. They didn't need what was their natural counterpart, subverting, not using their vessel correctly, detaching sex from the spiritual aspect of themselves, and all of the ills that go along with that, the physical appearance, all of the ills that go along with that, and the lack of morals and belief in the degradation of the spiritual value, which is the basis of the 10 life values, is the spiritual value. Without spiritual value, everything else falls apart. This is even true in Islam, where when the salah is incorrect, every other action that you've done is incorrect. That's starting with the spiritual. It must be correct in order for everything else in your life to be correct. Okay? So today we're going to continue with the cultural aspect. One more thing. I see a concern in my chat room. I typically do not answer anything that goes on in the chat, but because this isn't a troll, I'm going to respond just a little bit. Sports actuary. I am talking about and to black women, primarily and specifically. I don't do content checking black men. I don't do content making sure that they're corrected, because in my feminine stance, I don't correct and check black men. My brother sheep stay sleep as a black man is eligible to check his peers. None of us think that black men don't have any issues. It's just that on my channel, that's not gonna be addressed. That's all. And that's not just for sports actuary, which I thank for bringing up that concern. This is for anybody listening. But let's go ahead to the actual content. Okay. So when we take a look, I want you guys to take a look again at this. Okay? We're going to take a look at culture. The definition: culture is influence and is shaped by shared practices in a society to create the harmonious functioning by a group of people. Culture serves to unite and strengthen people by understanding how and why things are done in a particular way. Culture is the learned element in society that contributes to identity. It is not static, but changes and influences change in people. Keywords when people are talking about culture, they're talking about society at large. The influence, energy, nurture, language, ethics, unwritten policy, politically correct, what we do and how we act collectively as a group. And if you take a look at the little bitty pictures here, it has television, it has all of these that influence culture and drive culture. So we've got social media, we've got TV, music, movies, books, audio, events, that all sorts of things that influence and drive culture. Okay? So, let's talk for a moment about culture. Let's talk about, this is the learned element in society that contributes to identity. Black people, I think probably more than any other people maybe, consider their culture their sole identity. This is where black people get their concept of who they are. through culture, through cultural influences, including mainstream media, movies, music, television, books, audio, social media, all of these sorts of things, to the point where, we glorify things like the struggle. We identify the struggle with being black, and to the point where we don't consider other people black if they did not go through the so-called struggle. And we also consider other people to be black, even if ethnically they are not, if they are culturally black. Okay? So here's the thing. It's the learned element. Now, one thing that we have to understand, when we take a look at female nature, I'm going to have you to look at this really, really quickly. When we take a look at female nature, number 10 is to pass on culture. That's female nature. That's a feminine. The male creates culture. This is important to today's lesson, okay? That element is very, very important to today's lesson. So let's talk about the energy. Our current cultural energy is chaotic, violent, traumatic, confrontational, individualist, greedy, selfish, self-serving, ruthless, and cutthroat. Okay? That is the current energy of black culture. When we think of our culture, we think of the chaotic nature of it. We think about the violent nature of it, black on black crime. We think about the traumas of living in the hood, the traumas of growing up in the hood, the traumas of growing up in dysfunctional house. We think, and that's one I forgot, dysfunction. Our culture is dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional. Okay? And we kind of bask in that dysfunction. Instead of saying this is dysfunctional and therefore should not be part of our culture because it would bring it down, it would bring the value of our culture down, we actually wear dysfunction as badges of honor. We wear dysfunction as badges of honor. We wear wanton violence, both male and female, as badges of honor. Single motherhood, a badge of honor. Getting in a gang, a badge of honor. Being turned out by a bunch of dudes, a badge of honor. Being undereducated, a badge of honor. Not graduating out of school, a badge of honor. Being defiant, being against any and all authoritative figure, and being against any and all system, order, and structure and male leadership. Because leadership and male leadership contains order, which is the exact opposite of the chaotic nature and energy of our culture. It's tumultuous. It is rambunctious. I do what I want. Nobody can tell me anything. I can't be corralled. I can't be corrected. I can't be told. I can't be nothing. The energy of our culture is also very individualistic, self-serving. Everything is geared towards me. Nothing is geared towards the group. There is no such thing as the betterment of the group. There's no such thing as looking out for the group. There's no such thing as this. And we're going to go into why in a minute. There's also lack of ethics due to poor or non-existent spiritual value. Ethics, doing people right, doing right by people, doing right by situations, that actually comes through your spiritual value. Okay? That comes from your spiritual value. If you are an unethical, unscrupulous individual, that actually points to your lack of spiritual value. Because you don't have any scruples. And in this lost value system that we talk about, this right here, just to give you a visual, though at the top, the God that is worshipped is wealth. In order to obtain wealth, and because spiritual value is at the bottom, you'll do anything for the wealth. But I'm actually putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But what I'm saying is ethics is out of the window. Put a 1 in the chat if you have heard of or read the book 48 Laws of Power. If you have heard of or read the book 48 Laws of Power, put a 1 in the chat, please. I need a little bit of cooperation and a little bit of, and I need the thumbs up. 311, 172 likes. Come on. Bam, 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 bam. You got to get the likes up. Bam, bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You're going to make me do the dance. Okay. So we have heard of or read the book 48 Laws of Power. That book erases all ethics. Okay? If you read even the foreword of that book, okay, it talks about these 48 laws being devoid of ethics and morality. Okay? No ethics and morality. It's basically a handbook on how to navigate the lost value system. Okay? The 48 Laws of Power is a real quick handbook on how to navigate through the lost value system, because wealth is at the top. Remove ethics in order to get there. You can't have morals and ethics if you're going to be the best in business and wealth. You can deceive, you can undercut, you can do whatever you want to do as long as the outcome is the wealth. Basically, the ends justify the means. But that goes against morality. Now, let's go back, because that was a little bit of a tangent. Let's talk about the lack of ethics, also a decrease in nurture. Culture was about nurturing. So there's a decrease in nurture, which coincides with the decreased family value. Support is missing. There is an individualistic attitude. A family is about a unit. When you are together, but you are not unified in purpose, you are not really together. You're just a group of people that happen to be in physical close proximity. But in order to be unified as a family, you have to be together in purpose. You have to be together like-mindedness and must be supporting one another in the goal of the family. The language of our culture is coarse, it's brutal, it's meant to hurt the heart. The language also became reflective of the self-centered attitude, which has been disguised as self-love, self-care, and setting boundaries. So it is now a good thing to be savage in your speech to people. It's a good thing to be able to tell people what's what, where to get on, where to get off, and all of this other type of stuff, and being a savage. This is now glorified. Now we're going to go into why are we talking about black women in conjunction with this? Because black women pass on culture. They don't create it. The reason why black women were targeted as the tool used to destroy black culture, black community, black people, men, women, and children, was because of female nature and their ability to subvert that. Because a woman is going to pass on whatever culture she's in, whatever culture she identifies with, she's going to pass that culture. Okay? So she was given a culture to pass. She was given a culture to pass on. It is destructive. The first part that she was given, because here's what I need you guys to understand. I know I'm going a little fast, but here's what I need you guys to understand. That biology, culture, and environment stack upon one another. Your biology and what you believe about it and what you are and who you are and how you behave influences a culture. So you get a group of people that, let's just say, for instance, you get a group of people with a core belief that plastic plants is the life source of everything. Plastic plants. I'm just throwing something out there. Just bear with me. So their whole culture is going to be geared towards what? Plastic plants. What do you do with plastic plants? Learning about them, how to take care of them, how to interact with them, how to spiritually commune with them. The culture is going to be based on whatever you believe in your biology. Environment is going to be based on however that culture has been constructed. I need you guys to understand the relationship between biology, culture, and environment. I'll give you one a little bit more relatable. A person who has a physical disability, let's say they are paraplegic, they can't walk, they need a wheelchair everywhere that they go. Their culture, where they hang, where they're at, what they eat, the policies they live by, things that of that nature are directly affected by their physical, by their biology. I'm a paraplegic. So there's certain things I don't do. There are certain places I don't go. Certain places I can't go. There are certain people I hang with because maybe they relate. Maybe they're also paraplegics. Maybe we have that in common. Whatever. There's a culture that paraplegics live in that those of us with the use of our legs do not. There's also an environment. In that paraplegic's house, he's going to have accessible things. Places where he can get to with his wheelchair. His bathroom is going to be wide. His doorways are going to be wide. His toilet might sit lower. He might have a place where he can pull himself into a shower. His counter height might be lower. He's not going to have stairs everywhere. He's going to have a ramp so he can go up and down with his wheelchair. Do you see what I'm saying? So his biology dictates the culture, which dictates the environment. This is important. This is important. They choose black women because she's going to believe certain things about her biology. Black women believed that they didn't need men, that black men weren't anything, that they biologically could be men, even if they embody just the energy of men, that masculinity. They believe in their own masculine power and masculine strength. They believe in it. They got black women to buy into that. To the point where misandry could take hold. Feminist thought patterns. Do you understand? They changed the core belief of black women about themselves, which changed automatically their belief about black men's biology and the biology of their children. Let's talk about society at large. As society at large turned more towards feminism and misandry, black women took this to heart more heavily. Feminism helped black women solidify their corrupted biological belief of not wanting a man, specifically a black man. Her belief about God, divine masculine, changing into divine feminine, which is really the chaotic feminine. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to watch yesterday's live stream. So her concept of what is natural is actually flipped. There are now unwritten policies which are part of culture. Unwritten policy from mainstream culture, many times worse for the black community. So whatever, we've heard the expression, whatever they do in mainstream, black people catch, if they catch a cold, we catch the flu. We heard of that, right? And we're the canary in the coal mine. We've heard of these expressions as it relates to black culture versus white culture, basically, right? So now keep that in mind. This is many times worse, magnified in the black community. The corruption of the woman, magnified in the black community. Because of our small numbers, because of the fact that we ourselves are not the dominant culture, this is why the effect is so much greater. So then we have the policy of feminism, which for them is like woman power. For us, black woman is God. Black woman became God in the black community as an effect of the gynocratic teaching and feminism. See, black women weren't held in that kind of esteem before. They were held in good esteem. The black men love black women. But at the same time, under or behind feminism and the gynocracy, this was exacerbated in a negative way. So now the black woman is God in the black community. This is confined to what we say the black community is, which, thanks to our brother Ronan, he calls them ethnic outposts. I agree. Such that she is above reproach. Black women in our culture are above reproach. She cannot be critiqued. She cannot be questioned. She cannot be criticized. She is a protected class in the greater society as a woman, but also culturally, she's protected as a god. Also, our cultural cues now come from plantation dynamics. Plantation politics were reiterated to us through movies, music, television. What is plantation politics? Let's talk for a minute. Thank you, my love is divine. I'm going to talk about a mammy. Because that word gets thrown around by a lot of hyenas, gynocrats, divestors. Okay? and these demons running around here cloaking themselves as black women. Let me talk about mammies for a second. What a mammy really is. See, a mammyism is a part of them plantation politics and dynamics that got reiterated through all of this, mainstream media BS. A mammy is a gatekeeper for white supremacy. That was the job of a mammy. The job of a mammy was to keep you Negroes in line and keep you in your slave space to let Zaddy do what Zaddy was gonna do. Unobstructed by you and without hearing your lip. The mammy was usually in the house, taking care of Zaddy's kids or having them for him, kissing up and sucking up after Zaddy's wife, and pining for the validation of Zaddy that he never gives her because he can't stand her guts. Okay? That's a mammy. That's you mammies that want to run around here and talk about how black men is dusty, how they dominated, how they ain't nothing, and how they ain't going nowhere, and how Zaddy is all that you need. You the mammy. Because you gatekeep for white supremacy. If you hate black men more than Zaddy hate them, you a mammy. If you can blow your 12-year-old son brains out, you a mammy and a demon. If you can try to subvert other black women from being feminine, from accepting male leadership, from accepting order in her life, you a mammy. If you try to obstruct other black women from having insight, from telling the truth to themselves, telling the truth about themselves, calling out the BS that they see around them, trying to shame, insult, and guilt them into upholding the gynocracy, you're a mammy. Because why? You're upholding white supremacist tenets and goals. The goal ever has been the destruction of so-called black people. That's even why they called you black, to put the negativity in your mind about yourself. That was the whole purpose of calling you black in the first place. So while y'all running around here trying to act like every black woman that, they turn mammy around, I'm going to tell you what, we're going to talk about this mammy stuff. Because see, these divestors, these swirlers, these ignorant gynocrats that run around here, I'm going to tell you why they turn the word mammy around. They think that a mammy is a woman who actually accepts black male leadership from her black man. If she actually loves herself enough to not be part of the gynocracy, she's a mammy. The mammy has ever been the gatekeeper for the enemy, but now black men are the enemy. Black women who are not part of the gynocracy is the enemy. Black children that don't want to be raised under the gynocracy is the enemy. So anytime they see a black woman being feminine, she's a pick-me and a mammy. Every time they see a black woman not part of the gynocracy, she a mammy. Every time they see a black woman respecting black men just off the strength that this is what you do when you interact with people, you give them respect so you can get respect, she's a mammy and she black male identified. You white male identified. So what should we call you? You white male identified. So what's your word? What little fancy little hashtag word should we call you? Thank you, JS. What's your tag? What can we stamp you with? You got a lot of little words. for black women that know what's up. You got a lot of little words for black women that aren't a part of this foolishness and not a part of the hyena clan. You got a lot of little words for us. A lot of little shaming tactics for us. But you the gatekeeper of white supremacy. So who should be getting the side eye? You the one hate your people. So who should be getting a side eye? That's your mammy with your little gatekeeping self. You do everything you can to help black people remain destroyed while you in the sunken place. You believe everything that a zaddy tell you. He can spoon feed you anything and you will eat it. Mammy. Jezebel. Anyway, let's keep going. This crazy culture got passed through mainstream media sources, mass media, TV, movies, etc. Let's talk about the color purple effect, which reinforced the black male threat narrative that was given to us in 1915 through the movie Birth of a Nation, The Klansman. That movie was one of the first, if not the first, production where it was put into mass media and put into the main culture that black men are inherent threats. He's a threat because he's born. Okay? He's a threat because he's breathing. That's why he a threat. It don't gotta be nothing that he's doing in particular. It's just the fact that he's a black man and his heart is beating, so he's a threat. Right? And then they depicted him in that movie, which was ironically a zaddy in blackface, going around committing every kind of atrocity that you could possibly imagine. He's a sexual predator. That's number one. But we always knew Zaddy had a homoerotic fetish for black men, because Zaddy understands the masculinity of black men. Okay? So he has always had a collectively a sick kind of homoerotic fetish about black men. This is why he always would hang them, but then he would castrate them. Do you understand? He would hang a black man, but he would also castrate a black man in a physical representation, not only of taking his life, but emasculating him as well. And then making him swallow his genitals. Usually they would put his genitals in his mouth, stuff him down his throat, which was effeminizing him also. So taking his life was not enough. Many times he was mutilated. Specifically, they even did Emmett Till like this. He was a little boy. Specifically, they would castrate black men and then stuff their genitals down their throats. So take his life, emasculate him by removing his genitalia, and then effeminize him by making him swallow it. What is our culture based on now when we talk about black men? The emasculation of black men. Making him swallow a penis to get him to be effeminized or take his life. Or do all three. Our culture, the culture of the day, this is how black men are treated. Kill him. Black women are there to help kill him. I'll call the police. I'll just kill you myself. The emasculation is oftentimes not physical, as in a castration, but it's emotional, psychological. The psychological castration of black men. That and the emasculation of him starting at his boyhood. Starting at his boyhood, she emasculates him. She suppresses his masculinity and encourages his effeminization so that he is not a threat to her. The reason why I mentioned the color purple was because they reinforced that was one of the main movies, a cultural turning point that women really thought of. Women really took that in, okay? The black male threat narrative. Mr. All black men are Mr. Look at the stereotype, the stereotypical, the archetypes of men, of black men in that movie. Mr. is the monster. But so is Celie and Nettie's father. He was taking care of them, but he was still molesting them. So he was also a monster. So at every stage of her life, the black woman was a victim of whom? Not white men, but black men. And this is set in the time of, what was it? Right after slavery, what was that? Reconstruction? That movie was set in. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Then you had Harpo, which was the emasculated simp. He was weak. He needed the strength of Sophia. He couldn't do nothing on his own. He needed the guidance of women. Then you had Mr.'s father, patriarchal, a butthole, but you know, he fathered Mr., so that make him a monster by proxy. Do you understand? It also perpetuated the black female victim narrative. No matter who she is or what she's doing, she's the victim. So Celie was a victim just because she was just a victim of all her circumstances. Nettie was a victim of her beauty that black men preyed on. Suge was a victim of her beauty that her father despised. Sophia was a victim, and she was the most masculine out of all the black women, and she was the victim because she was strong enough to fight white men. But she also married Harpo. This is the one that couldn't be handled. Harpo couldn't do nothing with her. She wasn't listening to Harpo. Harpo didn't have enough masculinity. Yet Sophia ends up being a victim. So pretty much every woman in there was a victim. And every man was a victimizer. Even Harpo, even weak little Harpo, he was a victimizer. Do you know how? Put a 2 in the chat. Let me tell you how Harpo was an abuser. He was also an abuser. I'm going to tell you, you ain't never thought about this one. Put a 2 in the chat. If you want to know what Harpo did wrong. Because it wasn't just that scene about you told Harpo to beat me. No. It wasn't just that scene. Harpo was too weak to protect Sophia. He didn't protect her from white men. Even though she was out by herself fighting white men. Sophia didn't get protection because Sophia was too masculine to get protection. We don't get protected. And who's masculine? Other shows and media portray black women as domineering, as the final word over her family, in her marriage, over her children, over extended family, over all black men, regardless of relationship type. Simultaneously, black men are portrayed as weak and in need of mothering throughout their lives. Baby boy. Baby boy. They are effeminate, willing to become the women that they idolize. They are non-threatening to her because part of him worships her and his masculinity is compromised. So she might be able to control and direct him. This is why they advocate for the alphabet community so much. Okay? Also, through movies, music, and television, we receive the following messages that black women carry today. Black women who were depicted in a masculine way had to be that way due to the failed leadership of black men. His failure to lead was tied to his supposed poverty. His failure to lead was tied to his supposed poverty. What you hear from these hyenas? You can't make me submit because you ain't got no money. I can't listen to you because you ain't got no money. Black men can't tell me nothing because he ain't got no money. Every time they talk about submission, these hyenas don't come from the basis of nature. The first thing they say is they drag in these bang talking points, talking about black men only make such and such a median income annually. And black men there's more black men incarcerated than there is in college. And there ain't no black men in six figures. And black men only make about $40,000 annually median. See, they tie his leadership or his failure to lead with his pocket. This is due to the lost value system, where wealth is the God that you worship. If you don't have money, you're not anything. She gets to shame a black man through his pocket. If he's not wealthy, he's not anybody. Which a man's leadership is really tied to his masculinity, which is tied to his spiritual value, not his pocket. So a broke man can be an awesome leader and a rich man be a crappy leader. The trick is she ain't gonna listen to him whether he got money or he don't got money. That's the part she don't talk about. She bring it up, but she ain't doing nothing that none of them men say, money or not. women gotta be the men of her community. Have you ever heard them say, we the Negroes now, we the ninjas now, we the ninjas now? You ever heard them say that on social media? I have. So because black women, quote unquote, have to be the men of her community, she is now creating the culture. But the truth is, she's only passing down a corrupt culture that has been handed down to her through white supremacist power structures. They have given her a masculine outlook on herself. She sexually objectifies herself. Masculine outlook on her man. He's weak and he needs her leadership, which she is unwilling to give, mainly because she doesn't have it. A masculine outlook on the world. She's chasing money and leisure as a part of her own self-value, which gave rise to get the bag, which gave rise to whore culture and this casual prostitution that they do. This is all in an effort to get the bag because she rates and values herself based on what kind of money she can either make or usurp from a man. When you hear these gynocrats come through, they always talking about what kind of money they can make, what kind of money they have. They have come to discredit me because presumably I don't own any property, so that discredits everything I say. That discredits everything I say. All my 43 years of experience of life don't mean nothing because I don't have an X amount of possessions that they think I should have. This is the same individuals that hate themselves and look in the mirror. I love myself when I look in the mirror, but they got a problem with me. So when you're chasing this bag, ethics is not an issue. This is why they helped you get rid of your spiritual value in the first place. I only got a few minutes. We might go just a little bit over this hour. But before I get into a solution, can I at least get 450 likes? I got 545 people looking at me. Can I get the likes up? Can we please, pretty please? That really helps me in the algorithm. That is just as much support as a cash out. Please. Can we get the likes up? Okay, now, what are the solutions? You have to return to ethical thinking, but ethical thinking is hinged on returning to the truth of your biology, black women. You must return to ethical thinking. But ethical thinking is hinged on returning to the truth about your own biology. You are not men. You are not men, black woman. You're not a man. You never will be. You never have been. You're not as physically strong as him. You don't have as much reason and logic as he does. You don't have linear analytic thinking like he does. You don't have the foresight he does. You don't have the ability to protect like he does. You don't have the problem solving skills that he does, because if you did, you wouldn't want him or need him to give them to you. Period. Because I do not see a gang of men asking other men, can he protect him? That is a feminine trait. And not only are you not men, there's nothing wrong with you not being a man. Feminism lied to you about just about every biological aspect that you can think of. Not only are you not physically men, you are not energetically men. You are not psychologically men. You are not emotionally men. You're not men. You don't build, you don't create. And I'm not saying this as a shot. I'm included in that. I don't build or create nothing. The money I make is for me. It pay bills. It keep me going. I ain't went and bought no big thing for the community and we gonna build. I'm not saying you can't. But I'm a woman. And I'm fine with being a woman. I'm fine with everything being filtered through my emotions first. And then later on, when I'm done feeling some type of way, then I can think straight about what it is. And it ain't no shame in me being a woman. I'm not ashamed of it one bit. I'm not ashamed to say I think and I feel and I experience the world differently than men. And that's fine. That don't make me less important. That don't make me stupid. That don't make me a failure. That don't make me nothing but a woman. And it make him a man. I'm gonna cry if something make me upset. If you ask me what's going on, I'm gonna tell you how I feel more than I'm gonna tell you how I think. I'm gonna get in my feelings and be all I'm gonna be trying to decorate stuff on the wall. I'm a woman. If me and my husband have a child, he gonna be the disciplinarian and I'm gonna be the one trying to poo-poo and tutu. Well, okay. I mean, I ain't saying I'm gonna be a pushover, but I mean, you know, he might get an extra little scoop of ice cream. Unless his daddy just flat out say no. Then he can't come to me and get the ice cream. Your daddy said no. We're not going to play that game. It ain't no shame, black woman, in being a woman. There is no shame in recognizing black men as men. If you think that giving props and honor to men, to black men, diminishes you, then you're having a personal spiritual issue that you need to address. Because I promise you that respecting somebody else doesn't make me small. Giving black men respect doesn't make me small. I'm not lesser than. It makes me a woman. It makes me a human being. Is what it makes me. Stop trying to not be human. Stop it. You whine and cry about society want black women to be strong and we just can't do it all. But you the one sat out there and said you were strong and independent, could do it all. You did that. You did that. Black men tried to tell you you ain't got to do that. And you told him to kiss your soda cracker and your acrobacker. You told him to get out your face. And you got this, and you doing what you doing, and I got this. You don't tell me you ain't none of my daddy. Who you think you is? All he trying to do is help you out. All you trying to do. But use his foresight to help you out. Because you the one about to turn the corner and run smack face into a brick wall and don't see it coming, idiot. Knock it off. Knock it off. You are not men. Any of you within the sound of my voice that think that being a man makes you greater than being a woman, and you look down and got a Hello Kitty, you got a problem, ma'am. We women. Women need men just like men need women. We just don't need each other for the same stuff. That's it. That's all. Men like having women around. They like having women around, not little men with vaginas that's trying to tell them what to do and who to be and where to go and where to get off. He don't want you to do that. This is why you can't keep your relationship good with your man. This is why you can't keep your relationship good with your son. He don't like it either. This is why you and your boss have a hard time. He don't like it either. This is why the man, the black man that own the store, the corner store you go to, don't like you. Because he don't like it either. You going in the store trying to dictate what going on in the store he own. Who are you? Boop, get out. Out. Nobody wants to deal with a little man with a vagina. That's backwards. I said it. Few more minutes, and then I'll let you go. If you cannot accept a biological truth, then the culture can't be influenced by it. You can't do nothing about the culture if the biology is wrong. So here is what I want the sisters to do. The women who think this is all cap, what I'm talking about, don't see it, or whatever, or you kind of see it, but you want a clearer picture. Here's what you do. Write 5 things that are normal in the culture now that were not normal when you were growing up. Write 5 things that are normal in today's culture that was non-existent or not normal or was taboo when you were growing up. Then ask yourself, are these things beneficial to black women, to black culture, or black people in general? Then I want you to write 5 things that you would change about our culture that would make us better women and better teachers to our children, better wives to our husbands. This is the homework. Write 5 things that are normal in culture now that were not or did not exist when you were growing up. Then ask yourself, are these things beneficial to black women, black culture, or black people in general? And then write 5 things that you would change about our culture that would make us better women, better teachers to our children, better wives to our husbands. You ain't got to report it. This is to help you. This helps you. And be truthful. In therapy, you can't lie. And then I'm going to give you another little piece of measuring stick to understand whether or not something is beneficial or not. Thank you, C. Here's what I want you to do. If it's beneficial, it aligns with the 10 life value system, where spirituality and the internal are most important. The internal 5, spiritual health, family, appearance, dwelling. The external is important, yes, but not quite as. That is when something is beneficial. If it is not beneficial, then it aligns with the lost value system, where wealth is at the top, leisure is at the top, professional education is at the top, spiritual health, family, appearance, dwelling are at the bottom. If it is not beneficial, it probably aligns with the lost value system. That is the measuring stick that I'm giving you. It's not subjective. I'm going to tell you what else is not subjective. A game. A game is so awesome. People. A game, okay, is a natural male herbal solution for men. So 21 awesome herbs, all right? And it helps you with your vitality, your energy, your strength, and your libido. So if you want to be part of the A-Game family, and why wouldn't you want to be part of the A-Game family? All you got to do is click the link at the top of the chat. I made it super easy. Click the link at agameherbal.com and you get a 10% discount using the code Kendra10, and then you get a box of A-Game awesomeness coming to you ASAP. It's just that easy. Just that easy, right? Right. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming through, for giving me your attention, for the super chats, for the cash apps. I was unable to read them all, but I thank you anyway for it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this short, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites. Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.